What is up, guys? Eric here from BBM Productions, here with an interesting convo that was sparked. More like I want to present my argument to you guys, and I want you guys to tell me if I'm right or wrong. Um, More so like just I'm trying to start a discussion. So, um, had this comment thread on one of the videos I watched recently, and it was in relation to the creator of that video saying that most newer fighters would beat most of the goats from yesteryear, like way back from Fedor's time all the way on up. Now, I went through from heavyweight down to flyweight, who I feel still would have been the GOAT right now if they were in primes permanently and they were fighting everybody, as an example. And this guy, one of these guys, he replied. Now, there was like eight of us, all agreeing that, with my list and all trying to tell this person that no, Fedor would not be the heavyweight king, and Anderson Silva would not be the middleweight king if he fought some of the newer competition. Now, I then said to this guy, let's use Anderson Silva as a main example. Fedor, it gets very convoluted in some ways because he has a very well-rounded skill set. So it's less easy to distinguish where he falls, especially with the landscape of heavyweight. Anyway, um, middleweight, we had more contenders, etc. The skill differences really showed its reared its head. So, cool. Um, Anderson Silva, I just want to preface here. Anderson Silva is one of my favorite fighters ever. He's one of the reasons why I restarted watching UFC. Well, yeah, back then it was Pride and stuff. I started watching in 2008, 2009. I watched clips and then started watching on some dodgy sites, just to be honest, all the fights. I caught up with all the history and kept up with as much, um, yeah, of the timeline since then until 2015. 2015 is when we finally got Wi Fi. If you guys wonder, I'm from a very poor family, and we never had Wi Fi until I was 19 years old. So, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I'm not talking about my background. I'm just giving you guys a little bit of detail here. Now, cool. I watched through the years, kept up with everything. It was really cool. I even have magazines of MMA that kept up with everything. That's how I knew about everybody. And I remember back then not really paying attention to how long the history stayed of Fedor, etc., Anderson Silva, etc. However, I knew about Silva because of the crazy knockouts. And personally, I liked his flashy striking style a bit more than the messy sambo mixed style of Fedor. However, those two are the guys that I watched the most. Krokop and all those guys in between, Rampage, everybody saw the slam. Like when I was a kid, I vividly remember somebody coming to me and showing me the clip because they knew I liked fighting. They knew it since I was a tiny kid. Now, okay, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this whole video. Okay, so this guy, he disagreed with us. He says, well, all eight of us, well, nine of us in total, sorry, are wrong because we do not understand how primes work, indicating he feels your age depicts your fighting skill. That was the key part. Now, I recently rewatched Israel Adesanya versus Anderson Silva. Silva does not look like a different fighter there outside of his speed. Obviously, his chin. You can see every time, like past the Bisbing fight, his chin just went kaput. You could see he got rocked by shots that usually didn't bother him as much. We also know about his juice. I'll say it like that for now. That must have played a role because a lot of people think he was on juice his whole career, which is a high possibility. I mean, Vitor Belfort and both Brazil, you see. So let's just say for now, it's just the age thing there because age makes you either your chin goes first, we know that, speed. People say your power goes last, if I'm not mistaken. I'm a bit tired, guys, so if I misremember it between speed and power, sorry. Honestly, I don't care because it doesn't matter in this situation. So what matters is the skills. Now, I told this guy, and many other guys told this guy as well, just because he's older and moving slower doesn't mean he fights different. Like, he didn't completely fight different. The only thing he added since his leg break was the weird cross guard shield that he started doing. But then again, there was moments of this in his early career as well. He literally was the same fighter. It's just he was a bit slower and stuff. And yeah, he did tag Izzy and stuff like that. And obviously he had the touch of death way back. He just tapped people and they slept. But, this is the big but, he still fought the same. Now, the reason why I'm using this as the main point of my argument is because I told this guy, if Dricus du Plessis fought Anderson Silva in his prime, he would have mauled him, and in 2 rounds or so, he would have submitted him. Why? Because Silva, his skills didn't change with age after he was in his prime. And his big problem in his prime, and even out of his prime, was wrestling. Not jiu-jitsu. People misunderstand because they're going to be like, oh, he has a black belt in jiu-jitsu. What are you talking about? And he caught Chael Sonnen in the end. Yes, but he was getting his ass beat the whole fight until that desperation triangle sunk in. And every guy who's trained MMA will tell you that the triangle, the guillotine, are the two, well, actually you could add the armbar as well, but let's say triangle and guillotine are the 2 most effective submissions versus a wrestler, because a wrestler usually has to put the head on the outside of the body, that's where when it gets the takedowns, that's when the guillotine opens up, and on the ground they like squashing you. I'm a wrestler as well. I've been caught by both of these subs. I can tell you guys in training about that. And the reason why is you're in the person's guard, you're very confident, you're busy smashing them, and in a fight you're busy wailing on the dude's face. And it gets really easy to get caught. So, Chael Sonnen did that. Now, everybody knows Sonnen was on the source as well, blah, 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 blah. But Anderson at that time was near his prime still. And this is where I'm getting back to what I wanted to say. His wrestling was his deficiency. Massive deficiency, because Weidman beat him the same way and knocked him out because of his showboating as well. And he beat him twice, essentially. So the point stays. His wrestling would have been the problem. Now, I'll say this real quick. The thing that Dricus du Plessis showed throughout his whole career in the UFC, etc., is he has very good grappling, not just wrestling, grappling, jiu-jitsu, everything. I mean, he submitted a whole club of Gracies, like in COVID. I mean, doesn't that tell you the whole story? And it's because of the wrestling aspect as well as his jiu-jitsu. Everything is good. He's a very well-rounded fighter. Then, people claiming that he wouldn't last on his feet before so that he could get the takedowns. He survived on the feet versus Israel Adesanya, the man who stood with Silva and did well. Now, before people are like, MMA math, it's not MMA math. What I'm saying is, if he could stand with Izzy and find a way to land, he would have found a way to land on Silva. Same way Weidman did. Weidman doesn't have the same stand-up level as Dricus du Plessis. He doesn't have near the same power in his hands as Dricus du Plessis. Not close. And he landed on Silva. So, where's the argument there? The only thing that is the X factor for the GOAT of middleweight, the former GOAT of middleweight, Silva, is that touch of death. Any of these guys can get caught. However, we have learned the guy with more skills generally don't get caught. He just does his thing and he wins. We are grappling for Dricus. And then I was like, shit, do you know how big the list is of people that could have beaten Prime Silva? Dricus du Plessis. Israel Adesanya, because he already did that, he would have, like he said in his post-fight speech, he took it a little bit easier because, in the underlying to my way, he said, I was taking it a bit easier because this guy's my mentor, etc. It was awesome to just be in the fight with him, blah, blah, blah. He would have taken it way more serious if this was prime, ready to go silver, because he would have known, one touch, I'm asleep. He's the only guy, kickboxing-wise. Well, if you threw Pereira in there, but I'm not going to put Pereira in this list because Pereira to me was always a light heavyweight, just cutting tremendously down to middleweight. So, Izzy Dricus. Next up, Hamzat. Tell me Hamzat doesn't just fly in first round and choke him out. Just please, guys. Like, severely. If you guys think that doesn't happen to Prime Silver, yeah, and this guy doesn't understand it because he's like, you guys don't understand. He thinks that when you age, your skills deteriorate to the degree where you can't, you're not fighting the same. Which only happens way if you have a lot of damage in the head, CTE and stuff like that. But I haven't seen it. Even then, no. Tony Ferguson's a good example. However, Tony fights mostly the same, and he has a lot of CTE. Just gotta be honest. Gaethje, same thing. He improved, in fact, and then stuck it out from there. Only reason why he didn't continue doing that is because he knew he was going to get badly brain damaged if he started brawling again and kept brawling. Anyway, let's go through the list. Dricus du Plessis, Israel Adesanya, Hamzat Chimaev, Yoel Romero. Think the Lyoto Machida fight, if you guys are wondering what I'm thinking about. Robert Whittaker, and then number 6, not in any order, by the way, guys, GSP. GSP became the middleweight champion, and for years, GSP, this conversation between GSP and Silva was talked about. And with the Silva after Chael Sonnen fight, I remember people saying that this probably cements that GSP would have taken him down and grappled him. Hell, even Luke Rockhold has an argument here. He could stand and be competitive, and his jiu-jitsu, well, his grappling overall would have been enough. And then, Sean Strickland. Strickland doesn't get hit much. He has very comparable wrestling to everyone I just mentioned. Better wrestling, in my opinion, than Izzy. They're close, actually, in some ways. But no, I'm rethinking that. No, I retract that statement completely. Anyway, Strickland as well would have come forward on Silva, and he was a guy that doesn't like fighting off the back foot fully. He's a counter striker, but he does like coming forward to trigger his opponent to throw. Then he would attack. Think Forrest Griffin, where he was chilling in front of him. Whoop, whoop. Then when he came in, he forced him to lunge at Silva, and then he was like, slept. Sean would have been a nightmare matchup because if he just came forward, the shots didn't do much because he has a very strong chin. Dricus also has a strong chin, guys. That's another thing, but just for example. And if he wanted to clinch war him against the cage, kind of like, I think Derek Brunson did that. I don't remember that fight fully as well. I remember I was pissed because Silva lost. I was like, nah, there's no way. I always felt at that time that nobody would beat Silva other than Bisping or the top guys like Romero, Bisping, Luke, not knowing that what the situation was. And that was just before GSP just swooped in and got the belt. So guys, please understand what I'm trying to say is that the skills pay the bills, not the age and stuff. That's why there's so many videos of old uncles hitting the boxing bag or sparring somebody in boxing, still looking clean, just slower. With age, you just get slower. If I'm not mistaken, it's first your speed, chin speed, depending on which, then later on your power just disappears, which I think it's also, there's many factors that play into it, but So what I'm trying to say is, if Chael Sonnen, Weidman could land a punch on the feet, then all of these guys that I mentioned could land a shot on the feet as well. And some of these guys hit dead, like cripplingly hard. Like Yoel Romero, he hits probably the hardest out of all of the guys I said here. Dricus just behind him. Then, also, all of these guys, grappling-wise, they destroy Silva. They would not get caught by a triangle or anything, for that matter. Think really hard about it, guys, before you comment down below. But comment down below, tell me what you guys think. Give me your counter arguments. Do you guys Have you guys any evidence for me to say, see, here he completely fights different with, like, you can give me a video with slow motion that shows me he's punching differently. And obviously the speed difference is going to be there. But yeah, is he punching differently? Is he, yeah. Okay, the only thing I need to mention here, caveat, you do lose your reaction speed, but that's part of the speed thing. That is understandable. However, Silva still threw his punches the same. He had the same head movement, the same hand movement, everything. It would have been slightly faster. And yeah, that's not much of a game changer for the grappling area, because his grappling, his defense was never that strong. You see? So faster, you could fast forward him, and he would still not be good enough to defend in time. That's the main point. So yeah, cheers, guys.